Hello my dear friends, viewers and subscribers of the channel. Good health to all of you. Recently, my videos about recipes for people suffering from pancreatitis have received increased interest. I am obviously happy about increasing popularity, but not very happy about the fact that the topic, unfortunately, is becoming very relevant. One of our spectators and subscribers turned to me with a request to create a video about necessary nutrition during an escalation phase of this very unpleasant disease. Hola, thank you for your timely advice. The question is also relevant in the sense that New Year's, the time of the statisticals full house for this disease, is rapidly approaching us. A time when almost all of us are subjecting our pancreas to incredible challenges and abuse. I myself suffer for pancreatitis, and with a feeling of deepest sympathy and compassion, I will try to help you by telling you how to alleviate this dramatic and physically difficult moment as much as possible. The topic is serious and can take a little too long, and that's why I would like to make a small digression. I am deeply and sincerely grateful to those who watch and pressing the like button in my videos, subscribe to our channel, and write comments. And I take your interest to heart, realizing that everything that has been done is not going to waste, and that our work in this direction helps to alleviate your suffering or the suffering of your loved ones. It stimulates and inspires me, and your support is very important to me. But I would like your support to be more effective in helping our fellow misfortunes who have not yet seen these films. I am asking for your understanding and asking for more active expression of your attitude to these videos with likes and comments. And the most important thing is to actively share links to these videos in your social networks. This can greatly expand our audience and help a lot more people. Let's help each other. One more thing, dear friends, while analyzing the statistics of views, I suddenly discovered that 80% of viewers who have watched our diet videos to the end and even have watched them several times did so without subscribing to the channel and without clicking on the bell. This is completely normal and acceptable. But please understand me correctly. Subscriptions are needed not only for me. You need them too, no less than me. Because by subscribing and clicking on the bell, you will never miss our new films on this pressing issue. You will always receive the latest information about other ways we can help you. And another request, or rather advice. Watch the videos to the very end inserts. Among them, you can see our previous videos, which you have not seen yet. You will not receive any notifications about them. Well, that's about that. Now we're ready to proceed to today's story. Pancreatitis is an extremely unpleasant and rather dangerous thing. But this is not a judgment on you or your quality of life. With certain knowledge, skills, desires, and efforts, we are quite capable of bringing the quality of our life to an absolutely normal level of healthy people. And we can get the same pleasure from food as those around us. And this will not require increased financial costs, increased time and effort we spend. I thought that my story about pancreatitis and its accompanying cooking should be done in the style of an autobiographical nonfiction. an unthinkable story of my own illness and culinary research, trial and error. So, payback for being irresponsible, or day one, or rather the first night. In most cases, it comes to us at night, and this is only logical. Evening feast after a day of starvation at work can do us no good. Your pancreas, outraged by your irresponsibility and disregard, suddenly becomes inflamed and falls into a wild hysteria. There is a terrible, sometimes girdling pain in the area of pancreas and its surroundings, with a very, very unpleasant return to the back, right under the right shoulder blade. This is your liver coming into play, as it is directly connected with the pancreas anatomically and biochemically. At this point, I'll recommend the same thing that experienced doctors and experienced patients recommend. First, get out of bed. Assume a sitting position on bed or a chair at a comfortable height in order to comfortably rest your feet on the floor and push the upper half of your body 15 to 20 degrees forward. Second, it's good to apply a heating pad or a plastic bottle filled with cold but not ice cold water to the stomach in the area of the pancreas. Press on it, not strong but persistent, for 3 to 5 seconds with 2 or 3 fingers on the pancreas. Don't massage. Third, take 1 or 2 tablets or an antispasmodic, Noshpa or Dratavertine are used in our region. You can find out about similar available medications for your country. In most cases, the pain will weaken, but it won't go away completely. But it might not even weaken. If the pain does not let go, call an ambulance or immediately go to the hospital yourself. With such symptoms, an ambulance should arrive fairly quickly. This is exactly what I did. The ambulance arrived, relieved the pain with an injection, did a cardiogram, and after giving several optimistic and very superficial recommendations, they left. The pain went away, and I thought, I'm so lucky, it's gone. And I was wrong. After starving myself for a little, I went to the store and bought some dietary products, as they seemed to me. These were low-fat fresh buttermilk, or as we call it, kefir, low-fat fresh cottage cheese, crackers, oatmeal. Then, as usual, I had a very light dinner with half a package of cottage cheese, and then later I had a very liquid oatmeal. The remaining cottage cheese was placed in a closed glass container and placed in the fridge. Production date, December 8th. Purchased in the store on December 8th. I ate half the pack on December 8th. The next day, I ate oatmeal again and some baked potatoes. Literally, 1 small potato. A small baked apple, and in the evening, not suspecting anything, I had finished the cottage cheese. It was December 9th. At night, the ambulance had to be called again, and everything was even worse. But this time, I got really lucky. The emergency team included a doctor who himself had been suffering from pancreatitis for several years. The doctor had put on an IV, and while it was dripping, he gave me a rather detailed lecture on the disease, the rules of life, routine, and diet. I am incredibly grateful to this person. It was from this moment that my conscious existence on rather coexistence with pancreatitis had begun as a fact of life. So, the first, second, and third day after this attack, I had spent in absolute starvation. When it hurts, and hurts a lot, you actually have no time for food, because it is the gastrointestinal tract that hurts, because the pain is excruciating in its volume and duration. When the pain subsides and you feel better, the body and the pancreas itself begin to require nutrition. But the period of intensification is far from over. It lasts for everyone in different ways, from 12 days, sometimes to a couple of months. And if during the period of remission, in order to provoke intensification, you need to actually try, then during an intensification period, the inflamed pancreas can respond with a cruel relapse to an innocent mistake. But you can have experienced suffering and you do not want to experience it again. From now on, you should understand that your life and your nutrition will go on in accordance with a new charter called the 5P diet. You will understand that there is nothing tragic happening. It's a system, and you will act accordingly with the system. The main requirements of this charter, a complex of purely physical limitations. The first is to try not to overeat. This does not mean that you always have to stay hungry. Perhaps during an intensification period, you should be slightly malnourished. But your feelings are always subjective and individual. There is a simple recommendation. You shall not consume more than 140 grams per meal. There should be 5 or 6 meals per day. During this period, you will lose 5 kilos in weight, which some of us can only dream about during other times. However, those who do not need to lose weight at all should not worry either. Soon enough, you will regain your normal weight. Second, never, ever eat food that is very hot or very cold. This can cause tract burns or spasms even in healthy people, and the pancreas does not like this very much. Third, if you smoke and cannot quit, then I strongly advise you don't smoke in the first 3 days after the attack. The pancreas at this moment is especially keenly aware of smoke and odors. Now we'll go on to gastronomic restrictions. The first is to never eat anything fried or smoked. During intensification period, you should not eat stewed meat and fish, although you can eat stewed vegetables. Second, never eat anything spicy. Third, no lard, no fatty meat or fatty fish. Duck, goose, offal are prohibited. The caviar of any fish as well as their liver is also prohibited, and no meat broths. Fourth, no fatty sweets, cakes, pastries, creams, and other sweets. No chocolate sweets. No sucking candy full of chemicals. Fifth, nuts and any mushrooms of any kind are prohibited. 6. Forget about sauerkraut or pickles, pickled cabbage, tomatoes, squash, zucchini, and others. Forget about canned fruits and vegetables, and canned foods altogether. 7th, vegetables and fruits. The overwhelming number of cruciferous plants are prohibited. Consumption of any type of radish and kale is strongly discouraged. Broccoli. Dependent on individual susceptibility, broccoli can be used even during an intensification period. Cauliflower is not for everyone. Never eat onions and garlic raw. No pepper should be consumed, no matter bitter or sweet. Legumes are strongly discouraged, with the exception of heat-treated green peas. Eggplants are not recommended during intensification period, but you can try during remission. During intensification period, you should not eat cucumbers and tomatoes. During the period of remission, you can use them, but with certain conditions and restrictions. I will tell you in due time period. In general, not a single vegetable or fruit in its raw form should be consumed when your condition is intensified. Grapes and all its derivatives in any form are strongly discouraged. All other fruits and berries during the intensification period can be consumed only in the form of fresh juices diluted with water or not overly concentrated and sweet compotes or jelly. In the future, many of the fruits and berries will appear in your diet raw, again, under certain conditions and restrictions. 8. Fast foods, chips, puffs, and pastry pies, muffins, and very sweet cookies, definitely not for you. Number 9 is drinks. You cannot drink any carbonated, sweet flavored drinks. Beer, including non-alcoholic and kvass too. Alcohol is poison for you in any form, in 99 cases out of 100. 10th, a separate issue, salt and sugar. The recommended rate is minimum. More precisely, no more than 6 grams of salt and no more than 30 grams of sugar per day. In the future, we will return to this issue. During intensification period, I would recommend observing this rate only by the 12th day after the attack. If nothing is bothering you and you don't get enough taste sensations, this rate can slightly be increased. We'll talk about salt and sugar during the period of stable remission when it occurs. After getting familiar with so many restrictions, it's not surprising to get depressed. But don't be in a hurry to get upset. There are also 2 sets of foods and dishes that can bring you back into a good mood. The first, these are products that are approved and recommended. And second, these are foods that can be consumed in subsequent periods of the course of the disease and foods that can be consumed with some restrictions. The period of intensification is different from others precisely in the fact that during it, observing a reasonable rate and observing the previously listed physical and technological limitations, it is absolutely not prohibited to use products from the group of allowed and recommended. Now we will list a group of products, our savers, for the ill-fated intensification period. The first is meat. Animal protein is essential for the body, including the pancreas itself. Chicken breast, turkey breast, and at the end of the intensification period, or already on day 15 or 16, you can eat a turkey thigh. Young veal, lean rabbit, but only non-greasy. This is tested on myself. Fish of the cod family, except for burbot. Freshwater fish of the perch family are perch, pike, or birch. The second is eggs. Only chicken eggs and only boiled egg whites. an excellent source of easily digestible protein. Raw and boiled yolks are unacceptable, as well as boiled yolk. You can eat a soft-boiled egg 2-3 times during an entire intensification period. The third is dairy products. Almost all dairy and fermented milk products can be used except for store-bought yogurts and yogurts with pieces of whole fruit or other solid additives. In addition, very fatty, very hard, very salty cheeses should be excluded. One of the best cheeses you can eat during complications is mozzarella. The two main requirements for dairy products during intensification period are minimum fat content and exceptional freshness. The second requirement is perhaps even more important than the first. Fat content can sometimes be reduced by reducing the amount consumed. But if the product is not fresh, there is nothing you can do. Remember my misfortunate cottage cheese? To this day, I still don't eat cottage cheese. Perhaps this is groundless reflection? Maybe, but reflection also matters in our situation. The fourth is vegetables: beets, carrots, potatoes, pumpkin. Pumpkin is generally the most recommended healthy vegetable both during intensification period and in all subsequent periods. Pumpkin is the key to your pancreatic safety and recovery. Try to add it and use it always and everywhere. At the end of intensification period, I recommend adding celery root to soups and other dishes. It's a very useful product that adds more taste to dishes and is very well accepted by the pancreas. Perhaps this advice is very individual and might not suit everyone, but give it a try. At the same time, you can start adding a little broccoli. Fifth is fruit. The main healthiest fruit in general is an apple. Of course, during intensification period, it is recommended to use it in a baked form, and only apples of sweet, crumbly sorts. This is the backbone of your dietary desserts. A treasure trove of useful sugars, acids, vitamins, as far as the cooking technology allows. Banana. On the 7th day after the attack, I ate one mashed in a blender, combined with the pulp of a baked apple. The taste is amazing. A well-ripe banana is a storehouse of excellent carbohydrates and vitamins. During the aggravation period, these two fruits are sufficient for nutritious wholeness and enjoyment. And if you continue to be responsible, very soon your dessert table will be replenished with such delights as melon, strawberries, apricots, and cherries. 6. Porridge and flour. Pasta should be consumed towards the end of intensification. Oatmeal should certainly take the main place when it comes to broads. This is now the main cereal of your whole life, and it's worth it. You can make all sorts of delicious things from it, from soups to potato pancakes and cutlets. And all this can be made to be very tasty. At the end of this video, I'll show you how to cook pumpkin oatmeal porridge. All of us, both sick and healthy, will be happy to have some. It is also recommended during this period to cook porridge from half-grated buckwheat. Rice and semolina are also recommended. Personally, these three cereals made an ambiguous impression on me at the time. I was even slightly alarmed. Felt like it. But it's also true that porridges should change time to time. Eating the same kind of porridge for a long time is not good for gastrointestinal tract, and sometimes it reacts with a heartburn. Now briefly about flour. Bread should be white, not overly fresh, in limited quantities, and biscuits, or not salty or sweet crackers, when you are in remission. Seventh is fats. During intensification period, a moderate consumption of unrefined olive oil and a very moderate consumption of high-quality fatty butter. The increased fat content guarantees a significantly higher quality of preservation of butter. As we have mentioned before, we will later discuss the third group of food products that will be the subject of your creative inspiration and an experimental base for your personal cooking during the period of recovery. And now, some summary of the regulations and composition of your diet during the intensification period. And then, a very nice and healthy recipe for porridge, which will return you to your normal optimistic mood during complications of your pancreatitis. Observing the chronology and physical limitations, let's start. Eat dishes that are neither hot nor cold. They should be 25 to 38 degrees Celsius. Little by little, at regular intervals, slowly, and preferably with pleasure. First to third day after the attack, boiled, non-mineralized water, sometimes with small additions of boiled dried fruit. These are apples, some pears, absolutely no plums, cherries, or other berries or wild rose. Sometimes you can add a thin broth of rice and or oatmeal, but not more than once a day. Fourth day, vegetable broths. Twice a day, you can have a well-grated vegetable soup with a small addition of butter. No more than 4 grams or a full teaspoon of low-fat sour cream. A couple of times a day, you can eat thin oatmeal or rice porridge in skim milk. And all of this in small quantities. Fifth and sixth days, thin oatmeal and buckwheat porridge in skim milk, grated vegetable soup with 20 grams of pre-boiled and grated chicken breast, a slice of slightly dried wheat bread, and tea with milk. Baked apple, half a glass of fresh, low-fat buttermilk, or as we say, kefir. Seventh and eighth days, grated breast soup, a steamed omelette made from 2 egg whites, oatmeal and pumpkin porridge, baked potatoes with butter, and a thin slice of boiled chicken breast. Half a baked apple plus half a banana whipped in a blender. Ninth and 10th days, carrot beet salad, boiled or better steamed. Vegetables with the addition of sour cream or olive oil. Vegetable soup with chicken and a little sour cream. Grind the chicken and knead the vegetables with a fork, but not too much, because at this point, your intestinal tract is returning to coarser foods. 11th and 12th days, steamed or microwaved fish souffle, oat pumpkin porridge, vegetable soup, same kind as previous days, apple banana dessert, baked or steamed potatoes with a slice of baked chicken or turkey breast, a soft boiled egg with a slightly dried slice of bread, and so on. Gradually and carefully, we are enlarging the portions and introducing new dishes within the list of recommended products. Alternate soups with dietary vinaigrette-type salads. Your menu will depend entirely on your efforts and imagination. More to be discussed: medicines, as pain relievers, antispasmodics, such as Noshpa or Dratavertine or their analogs. During the rehabilitation period, or from about the 10th day, enzyme-containing meds would come to your aid. But during intensification period, taking them is not recommended and can even be harmful. Other medicines, only after recommendation of a doctor and after careful study of the instruction. Remember, somebody recommends, you will be the one suffering. Get used to taking medications if necessary, bypassing the gastrointestinal tract. And now, for the preparation of a wonderful oat pumpkin porridge, we are heading to the kitchen. So, oat pumpkin porridge. Cut the pumpkin into thin slices. For one serving, take 120 grams of pumpkin and 45 grams of oatmeal. Put the pumpkin into boiling water and cook it for 10 to 12 minutes. Our pumpkin is ready. At this stage, you can remove some of the water depending on whether you will be adding milk. We shall knead our porridge well. Then we add our oatmeal. Stirring constantly, we will cook the porridge until it's ready. Then we add either milk or a small amount of butter. Thus, we get our portion, 100-160 grams of excellent, very tasty porridge, which can eat already on the 4th or 5th day after the attack. Trust me, having tried it once, you will not give it up for a very long time. Watch our videos and you will learn how to cook delicious food even on a 5P diet. Even with pancreatitis, you can enjoy eating. We wish you good health and bon appetit. Like us, comment, ask questions. All the best!